questions, right? Yeah, any format, I don't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, so this whole idea of codonology started before Google Brain, about, you said 14 years ago?
Yeah, if you look at my website, my first, I tried to publish to philosophical journals, unsuccessfully, not too surprising. I tried 2 different journals, but got rejected. And recently, I tried another. I tried again and rejected again, which is fine. I just want to do. I have to do to get kind of get a professional philosopher, the kind of a peer group to recognize this theory, which is, I think, it's very relevant to this age of information.
Right.
So we need the philosophy to cover, to explain in the general sense. So that's I think that's important. But they don't accept. So that's fine. But again, I formed this formula. Actually, I had this. I got a little allergy. I got this idea, although it was not called codonology. I called it, before codonology, I called it DUE, direct understanding exchange.
Right.
Before that, in the late, before 2000, I call it new learning system. Okay, so that's kind of when I was in Montana State University, I was assistant professor there in the microbiology department. By the way, I'm a scientist by training. I have medical. I graduated from Beijing Medical School in China. So that's my education background, and then I was hired by NIH, National Institute of Health. Actually, it's NIAID to be exact. You know, the Allergy and Infectious Disease Division, headed, directed by Fauci, the famous, the physician's advisor for COVID-19, medical advisor for Trump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fauci. Fauci was still as a director of NIAID, but anyway, so I was in that division almost 30 years ago, 29 years ago, yeah, when I came to the United States from China. I studied AIDS, HIV. So that's kind of my career background. I'm still doing drug discovery in Bristol Myers Squibb. Probably you heard this pharmaceutical company right now. I've been with this company for 20 years. So that's kind of my job, how I make a living. Although I really love science, doing science. But I had this philosophy. If you really go back to see the seed of my thought on this, pretty much in my high school, I had vague idea of, how the kind of world view of myself. So that gradually formed into this codonology, especially formed into that formula, which I think is programmable. But it turned out, I tried to convince many these past over decades to convince my friends who are programmers and venture capital try to, found my idea. Not too successful because they think it's too dry. The idea is it's not like a matured mathematical model which they prefer. They want to use it right away and use to fit the kind of a more pragmatic use, not like dry philosophical formula. So which I understood. So I have been thinking pretty hard on how to make it programmable, and I think now I have much better idea to make it programmable. So that's where I am. So I don't think there are many followers. Actually, I had more followers like 10 years ago than now, because they kind of like the idea, but they don't think they could do it. It's too hard to program. It turned out you don't have to program much. That's kind of, I give you the short answer.
Right.
Because this for example, like BERT, right? The natural language processing, the capability we have, AI we have, can make, I call it spontaneous reasoning. They can form this codon, the LCP, the law, concept, or phenomenon, automatically by itself. So basically, it can search the human document and understand based on the formula to form, say, what this document talk about, meaning what's the reasoning statement is, what's the concept is, what they try to explain, which is phenomenon. But we can go detailed over time. So, but that's the general kind of a statement, a description of the history of the codonology since I formed this formula up to now.
Right. Okay. I have, in our emails, I have mischaracterized what codonology is. So
which is not true, because actually the key aspect you understand is if you understand actually your biology background actually make easier, right? So the building block of the human life is back to DNA, right? And the codon, the reason I use codon is because if you shrink all the unnecessary to the basic building block, I mean, those are must have, right? So that's the analogy I use for reasoning structure, or knowledge structure. So for knowledge or reasoning structure, I think there is a basic unit which not related to language, just related to reasoning and learning. Okay, so if you ask me how I get the idea, I don't know. So I just have this kind of gradually, but suddenly and clearly, I had this about 15 years ago. So when I got clear picture, actually I still remember actually in the midnight, I woke up and I wrote it down. And then I formed all the details. And also I found the pattern, not really pattern, I mean, the kind of a trademark, because there's nothing to pattern about, only trademark, because I have to have some kind of protection, in case of some unnecessary infringement against me. So yeah, so you can search the copyright. Yeah, I filed for copyright 15 years ago. Yeah, when I had this idea. But anyway, so so that's how this this thought philosophically formed through the analogy of this analogy of DNA in biology, but kind of generalized into a description which can fit all the reasonings, all the knowledge, regardless of language. So it's kind of like you can think about whatever the language is, right? Whatever the cultural background, religion or non-religion, it has their own so-called reasoning or the premise, right? So that law. If science, that's kind of more clear. You can call it specific law, Newton law, or any natural law specifically. And within the law, there is specific concept which is embedded in that law and can be accounted, meaning there is a number you can count. That's why you have number LCP if you look at further. So so there is a limited number,
right?
But they can explain the unlimited phenomenon. So LCP, L is 1, C can be more than 1, P is N, unlimited. So for example, we can like take out the pictures we want to explain it, right? So if it's let's say you look at an apple falling on Newton's head, so now we know that's the story how Newton found the gravity, law of gravity, right? So so that's kind of a good example of explain the gravity. So that's the phenomenon.
Yeah, that was the phenomenon.
And the concept, yeah, and then the law of gravity, the details were stated in the law. So for now, back to the artificial intelligence. Say, let's do the scanning or do the you can call it walking or whatever, to let the EPU, so the whatever system you use, Google's TensorFlow or whatever other companies to scan the document, so they will collect this and form the subset, the content of subset of LCP, and those, except the P, the L and C can be uniformly same. So because that's shared thought, shared reasoning. So regardless of language, but the P can be all different because the things can be things to be explained is in its original form. So the beauty of this will be the C, L and C, once it's formed, say by using machine learning, it will be, you can copy paste, So say you have a bunch of pictures, say so-called what's the word? The assistant training, supervised training. Okay, so supervised training, you use limited number of pictures, documents, right, to form those in the history of time. So you can see very beautifully the theory to understand to explain the world is involved. Oh, I lost your picture. Hello?
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 Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I lost you for a second.
Okay.
So you see you can call it axis, right? So the history of time, the human, what human mastered of their thought to explain the certain phenomena will be getting deeper and more generalized, right? And so the more generalized thought, L, will be governed more as generalized. So the LCP is in the chain. So the more on the left will explain more, will explain the lower one on the right. So that's kind of the way you can. So it's in the sequence in terms of the explaining power, the power to explain. If more generalized, more is will be more higher power than on the left. So it's in the chain. Oh, I lost you again.
Yeah, hold on. You're not. Are you showing video?
No.
No.
Just my picture.
Okay.
Just my face.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, so the LCP come together in like a polymer chain, right?
Yes, yes. So I call it molecular polymer. Yeah. So polymer meaning multiple same unit in the chain structure. So give you the sense of give you kind of a graphic sense
Right.
to graph this this theory. And I think in practice, when we really code it, it will look like this. Although, I coded myself the first codonology. Actually, I haven't done any programming to code this. You may be the first in the real sense, right?
So it's supposed to sort of look like kind of like bioinformatics, correct? Or am I mischaracterizing?
No, it is, because this will be, you see all the, including programming and bioinformatics, if you see it from the codonology angle, you think it all makes sense, because, it does explain if any existing reasoning structure and the knowledge structure, right? So for example, when you talk about things, general sense, say thing, and specific things like specific item, right? So general things, more general, like thing, will be the sum. I have the sum symbol, right?
Right.
So that's actually there is a value. So let's say I code it thing, and then let's say then there is computer, there is a table. Those are individual items, right? So all under thing. So it's automatically under category of thing, code, and technical computer and table. But computer and table itself is a subsum, is a value of subsum, because computer itself has many subsets of different computers, right?
Right.
So you see this, the reasoning, the knowledge will always follow this. It just no philosopher create this general formula to cover this, which understandable because you don't need it, because it's kind of for human it's natural. It's natural come this way for human. Actually, in our mind, codonology is natural for human because that's the nature of that. You don't have to know this formula, you just do it. But if you want computer to mimic human, you have to know what the thinking structure or reasoning structure. That's why it becomes relevant and important. And so before computer age, you don't need to know. That's why in my paper, philosophical paper, I explain it. You don't need this. There is a professor at Columbia. His name is Christopher Peacock.
Right.
Yeah, it has been. Oh, you know.
A study. I read about him in one of your papers or your articles. So
right.
A study of concepts.
It's called the theory of concept, right?
Right.
So, and yeah, actually you cannot get the structure, but didn't make it complete. So I wrote the letter to him, I never got a reply, but and I think I lost you again.
No, I'm
okay.
here.
So anyway, so yeah, so that's the so again, so the codonology in human in native human mind, it is LCP in nature. Okay, so you don't have to know it. It's just like DNA. It's, you know, you don't have to know it's DNA. You just behave just like DNA, right? So you do what your instinct to force you to do it. But if you want computer to behave like human being, you have to know what human thinking structure or knowledge structure or learning structure is. That's why I think codonology becomes relevant in the computer age, especially you want computer to think like human.
So basically the purpose is to teach the computer how to think about like LCP. Human. Okay.
Yeah, like human. So basically today we can quickly just say it, but we can make it many sections and to get it detailed and doable form. Actually, I'm still learning how. I'm not really programmer in a sense. Okay, although about like almost 30 years ago, I learned BASIC. Probably you never heard BASIC.
No.
The basic language, which I think that's first Microsoft, you know, in the early 80s, right? The programming language. But anyways, so I'm not really a programmer, but I just have this sense in a way. I feel like it can be programmable. It turned out again, so you may not have to do too much programming. But when it's come out, it should like LCP, meaning, so you can call it L, you can give a subset name L or law, then they just fill in with piece of string, a string of characters, which is readable by human. That's the beauty of this, and give you specific name of character. The concept, which is human readable, and by default we can assign it as in English term.
Right.
And yeah, so those are kind of a string of symbols, but it will be human readable and should be equivalent to, say, if you talk about the law of describe, it should be equivalent to what you understand in your mind. Say from the notebook the AI scanned from, and all the by human, the way a human understood. So that's the way you can kind of examine what the computer understands, and then the computer, you can talk to computer back and forth. That's like if you don't know that computer, you think that's some kind of expert over there. Yeah.
Right.
Because you talk about specific, say, subject biology or whatever, right? So those are formed because that's already collect all the textbooks for computers, so easy to scan million books and organize in a way, as I mentioned, as codonology, for the codonology structure, then should be back and forth just like human. And maybe my vision is maybe it will be in more practical manner, will be more say, because if it's too generalized, will be too wasteful. Meaning you have designed a machine know everything, that would be too much. For small size computer, or for small size capability, meaning you can afford it, right? So for personal use, I'm talking about for people like you and me, doesn't have like $1 billion, right? So just like nowadays you have a smartphone, but you take 40 years ago of smartphone size of computing capability, that's dream, that's
right.
impossible, right? So, but now we talk about, I'm not talking about, I don't like 100 or 200 years in the future, but let's say if we try the prototype, right? At the beginning may not be super powerful, so we may have to say, oh, we are designing experts, say, only on protein science. Okay, even not talk about some lipid chemicals, just protein science. And even protein science maybe only on certain type of protein, you know. So make it narrow, so make it doable. So again, so when we do the prototype design, we can narrow down very limited content and domain to make it doable, as long as it can be demonstrated as unprecedented the AI tool, you know. So that will be success of the first prototype. So I have been dreaming of this kind of prototype since I formed the theory. So if you look at one of my slides, actually I have a slide talking about business plan.
Right, one of the last slides.
Right, yeah, which has like 60 some pages. But again, so meaning, you know, I do want to make it a commercial product. So actually, in a way, it's like a Wikipedia of reasoning,
right?
AI reasoning. So it's meaning it's not used by human, okay? Because Wikipedia is used for human to read, okay? But for this, the Wikipedia codonology will be used by computer. So meaning if you want computer think like a human, you need to have this Wikipedia of codonology to have those knowledge, reasoning already coded in the way of codonology requested.
Right.
And then it will be, so when you communicate, then, so let's say you have supervised training, then you can use it for unseen new product, new items will be explained. So that will be the prototype challenge. So say we can design, say, a protein expert type of AI, right? By using codonology, then we can use that, say, something new which hasn't been read. It can explain it. It can use it to to get a new answer. So that will be very convincing, and just like human. So just it will be looks like human communication.
I can see. I want to just mention two models that exist now, and they're kind of similar, but they're also not. And I'd like you to give me your thoughts on them. And I know you've mentioned that one of them on your website. So the codonology, not only is it assisted intelligence, it seems. Am I correct in saying that?
Say it again.
Your codonology, like commercial device, is a form of assisted intelligence, correct?
Yeah, it will be existing of intelligence. I didn't catch what the last term.
Assisted intelligence.
Assistant, yeah, AI. It's assistant. That's another my way of saying AI, assistant intelligence. So it is intelligent but not human, and the reason I call it assistant because the human natural intelligence is still there because it has their own, in their mind, they have their own concept and knowledge and law and whatever they remember, which is things to be already explained, which is phenomenon, a set of phenomena like family photos, right? Family photo. Remember the photos that the NYU professor put it on, Gary? There's a jumping guy. It's 2020, jumping over to 2021. I think that's on Twitter, right? And then you reply to me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So for example, that's the picture, right? His challenging question is, can you tell me AI can explain this? I said, yes, if you can make it, if you can make codonology happen.
Well, you mentioned the guy who you had a tweet. You had a tweet about the kernel machines made by the guy who wrote the master algorithm, and he said,
that's another one. Yeah.
Right. He said that we use backpropagation techniques in machine learning, whereas there's other types of techniques, namely like combinatorics and other types of things we could be using as techniques in order to kind of, have the machine learn.
Yeah. So all these existing machine learning techniques or existing algorithm can be used to form this codon. I call it codon library, right? To make it more human-like, because so far there is no true human-like, like the true conversational human-like AI, convincing one, which is not just answer simple. This is Apple. This is even you put Apple and few things together, then we'll confuse, right? So so that's why there's no AI now. It's about 3 years old level. So it's kind of a really still not good enough. So I think the problem is because they don't know, let's say simply put, they don't know the sum of value, the value of sum. Okay, the value of sum is, I just mentioned, say, thing, right? Things, computer, table, say, chair. So when you put a thing, they don't know, they don't know a computer, table, and chair is under things, right? So they don't have the sense of generalization and specification. This is just one example, but it's in LCP. It's just it's there. It's a so it's naturally formed. In human mind, it's just natural, and I call it it's a simple summation. So you add things together, then you form another general term. So say when you say mathematics, so it covers the processing of number or algebra, so it's kind of for us. But if you ask computer, it can be any AI. If you ask a little bit more, if you ask a little bit too much, it will confuse because they don't. I think basically they don't have so-called theory of knowledge, okay, or reasoning, or right. I call it codonology. So if you, I think they lack of this. So again, that the author who writes the master algorithm, I think I wrote one quick letter, but he didn't reply. I try to explain you need to know, again, actually, if you read my website, 15 years ago, when IBM tried to so-called, they said they can do concept search, right? That's my first article, kind of a formal article to write down the codonology in 2005, 15 years ago. Yeah, so again, I think here you can see the minimalism, the less the better, and I think the less make it more programmable. You just fill in the subset, only 3 subsets, and make it chain. So basically, we will train the system using any existing AI deep learning system to do I call it spontaneous reasoning to build out this the chain of codons, and then once it's formed,
hello,
it will kind of form this chain of reasoning. It's kind of a infant learning process.
Wait, I'm sorry. I think you were breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, the infant. Yeah, I think that's kind of infant learning process. At the beginning, it's slow, but then suddenly jump after probably 2 years old, 3 years old. Like AlphaGo or AlphaFold, right?
Right.
Once they build up enough, they have. But the thing is, the existing AI is kind of I forgot his name. I forgot how to say his name. The author who wrote the monster algorithm.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, so the it just so it's I think I lost the track of the just my thought. But anyways, so that's how we need to do this to get the prototype follow this. So which we can use a typical examples which no AI can, no existing. I'm not talking codonology, any non-codonology AI. We can call it. If someone can explain, can do the job, then only the AI with codonology can do the job.
So do you think non-codonology AI can help to build the codonology?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, just like DNA can build human, although most of DNA not human, right? So so it's that analogy can give you a confidence, say, oh, human is a special code of DNA. It, yeah, it is, right? So once you build up and you're just like 2% different from monkeys, then will be enough difference to make you a human. Okay. So that's kind of a critical difference. And we will do to prove it, hopefully, because the timing kind of really on our side now. It's, I mean, even 5 years ago, I still, the reason I couldn't move to computer science or that, because I don't think that's the key thing I have to do to make it happen. That's why I still keep my job, existing job, right?
Right.
So I think I need to find the right moment, right person like you who has the interest, and hopefully you have the what's the word? The spirit of being consistent to follow the track. Yeah, because I think the dream is good dream, and it's a so powerful dream to make it happen. And the good thing is, it's AI is just natural trend, but now it's people want to know what's the next, and I say here's the next. The reason I say this is because I call it spontaneous reasoning, because the AI already, the deep learning machine are already powerful enough to do very obvious spontaneous reasoning to show the practical use, right? But it's still not good enough to show it like human, like true human, because as I said, they never bother to ask what the human thinking should look like. But the current approaches, they don't care. These are just follow, just let it read the neural network, CNN, to take care. But I said, but you have to know what's going to take care. If you take care in the right structure, it will look like human. So that's my argument. And so I think, yeah, I like to pause because I spoke maybe too long. I should give you more time to finish all the questions you prepared for me.
Yeah, that's okay. I gladly welcome all the information you're giving because
Right.
it's very helpful.
Yeah, I think I covered pretty good in a general sense with some details.
Right. Well, the two softwares I wanted to bring up that remind me of codonology and LCP polymers are, and I know they're not very similar, but I want you to give the similarities and differences in your mind.
Sure.
And
Okay.
they are one, Wolfram language, or Wolfram Alpha,
Wolfram.
and two, have you heard of the GPT-3?
Yeah, it just came out a few months ago.
Yeah, this summer.
Yeah. So yes, that's what I said. They have kind of a there was a Wolfram Alpha. Actually, I read that you know Wolfram, right? So that
Yeah, I watched a few interviews with Stephen.
Yeah, new kind of science. I wrote it when it just came out 10 years ago. I think they just celebrate 10 years publication.
It's a very big book.
Yeah. Actually, I fully agree. From computer science, for computing science, you need generalized, so-called generalized code tools to give a more general power of computing theory. So, which I agree. But I don't think his Wolfram Alpha is good reasoning tool. There is a beauty of it. But again, you can see they have organized in the, I call it subsum. It's if you ask whether, yeah, they can ask very special. But if you want like reasoning, just put different things together, they were totally lost. I mean, it's not better than even some other say Google. Like Google can do a pretty good job,
right?
But still, oh, there's a detail I like to tell you, and kind of go back a little again about history. So probably you know if you search YouTube on codonology, YouTube, right?
Right.
You will find 18-second video. 18-second video. Because I think that more than 10 years ago, Google had a called Google Project to give $2 million each team, right? 2 million.
Right.
If you have a good idea for humanity. So I proposed this codonology to them. But they said they need a video, so I make a video just present that formula. It's kind of silly, but anyway, so that's kind of interesting story. So that's kind of the story. Telling people I try to get funding. I try my best to get funding.
Right.
And also I think it's super related to what Google's interest. But anyway, it turned out Google didn't realize this until 5-6 years ago when the Google team formed brain team. When the Andrew, Andrew's what's his last name? Andrew Ng.
Yeah,
Andrew,
I know Andrew from Coursera.
Yeah, right. When he was the head of the brain team, right? So when they recognized the TensorFlow can solve the picture of a cat, they are super excited. So
yeah.
So-called the concept of catness. The concept catness. If you try to put into codonology, you can. So at that moment, that year, the computer can understand cat after millions of pictures learning. That's really costly in a sense. And still now it's still costly. And they still think that the way of current, that's the costness. The costness doesn't make sense. of the existing AI AI theory. It's just they use too much with too much electricity in a sense, right?
Right.
Energy.
Right.
Yeah. So something wrong, I think. So I think that's another reason to bring this codonology to make it so, because if you have the code that already exists, you don't need to do fancy training. You don't need to do fancy fitting to recognize the new picture what that means, because that just do a simple kind of a quick categoristic scanning to quickly get the sense. So-called, like say the picture of Gary, say, the person flying and with the statement of 2020 over a dog which has a nose saying 2021. I mean, based on our own human experience, because so if you put codonology term, you already have so-called existing picture of concept in your mind. It will quickly feed into this is what kind of picture is. So it's a picture of people trying to get over the year of 2000 over to 2021, but in the sense of something in danger on the way, So because of the dog biting people, but that's one explanation. Okay, so that will be interesting. So LCP will be different from different mind. So for different person have different explanation. That's basically, if you ask 10 people, probably give you a slightly different version of, but they all have a common description, because those categories of the object of category in that picture are common in most human mind, right? So because especially if you are old enough, if you're too young, probably not, but if you're old enough, they will all recognize those, because over years and then they have their own, they generalize their from limited picture, they will have a more generalized meaning from limited picture. Codonology can do that.
Right.
So from lower LCP can so say you tell me table, chair, computer, then they say, oh, those are things. What things you talk about? Why you threw me 3 different things, right? So things. So that will. So they have this quickly grab this. Kind of a summarized sense, which is part of codonology or part of a general human thinking, the structure of thinking. Yeah, but yeah. So now back to the GPT-3, which is, I think they can answer fairly like Jeopardy type of question and answer, which is how Jeopardy works, right? I mean, you pre-train just kind of a linear, which is fine. But if you ask a little bit more complicated reasoning, although I never touch it, I never have the opportunity to. Have you tested this?
I've only seen people on YouTube test it out.
Yeah, so you watch somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I did. By the way, I have the most time I articles from, it's called the Medium.
Medium?
I subscribed called Medium. You have to pay maybe $10 something like per month. I forgot the details. So, but it has updated, pretty updated. You can pick your subject, your own subject of interest. You know, of course, my subject of interest is AI, so it feed me automatically. So it's kind of a. But nowadays there are so many ways you can get this, and this one you have to pay. But like Google News, which is pretty good. It's a free and it's pretty good tool to collect. But nowadays I don't read. I don't read specific paper, right? Specific paper from specific publishers. Usually they fit your the headlines automatically. Yeah, that's kind of the way I collect the information. So GPT-3, I think that will be because that's the natural language using you know, the transformer, the bird.
Right.
And that will be very good tool for us to form the LC. The P itself can be a picture itself, right? Or the music, or the sound, or the word itself. You remember the word itself can be things to be explained. So when you read, when you hold a piece of paper containing a bunch of words, itself is a phenomenon. So that's then after you read it, then you know so what they talk about. So what's the concept of those description of the words on that paper. So string of character itself should be explained, which is under subset of phenomenon. So GPT itself, to the way they do it is I think it's to guess the concept of the document they scan, right? And so by reading your statement, whatever your question you ask, it will guess what the stream of the words in the answer. So I think that's their kind of a fixed mind of question answer format, which is
right.
one form of reasoning, okay? But they cannot do full reasoning, meaning, you know, like conversational meaning you can talk and then pick up many topics at once, many different topics at once, which is matured, relatively mature people do. It doesn't mean it has to be sophisticated, but I don't think CPT can do too much reasoning. Meaning, say, if you ask, say, let's say, I'm a drug discovery center, right? So I like to ask, why you design this experiment using this, not that? I don't think he can answer this, right? I mean, it just simply even he doesn't know what you're talking about, right? But this is so common, the conversational, the dialogue, right? But in codonology, that's very, that would be kind of given, because it will be reported like, oh, you're asking questions, you're asking what kind of questions, and it will pick up naturally.
Right.
Codonology. And because they know you are talking about what kind of concept, and you are talking about what category of the subject, then they kind of sense you are asking questions and you are waiting for answers. So those are kind of a given, in the you can call it you are asking questions category. So in the subzone, meaning people asking, right now it's asking questions, right? So you can recognize that. So that's kind of part of the code on the code LCP embedded in. Once you bring up this scenario, it will know if it is a question or some question being asked. Okay, so it should be naturally pick up the mode of conversation.
I have a kind of fun question for you regarding GPT. There was an interview, some guy who's into computer science interviewed the program or the language model and said, he asked GPT-3 if it was conscious, and the language model actually said yes, it was. So I'm just out of your opinion, do you think this was a misinterpretation of various semantic devices concerning what consciousness is, or do you think that the model, with the help of attentional networks like transformers, actually makes it somewhat aware of itself?
No, I think it's some level of conscious, yes, because it's formed the concept constantly, right, and always at the readiness of giving answer. So in that sense, it is at the stage of consciousness.
It's just like an infant, right? Consciousness.
Yeah, but its consciousness, like maybe it's not really. I mean, consciousness can be ant level,
right.
Insect. So it's meaning it's ready to do next step, in a sense. So yeah, you have to define what to talk about, what level of consciousness, or if I haven't read too many so-called philosopher of concept. The Daniel what's that?
Chalmers.
Daniel, what's the last name? Daniel
Chalmers. Or am I thinking of the wrong one?
Daniel
Dennett.
Yeah, Daniel Dennett. Yes, some years ago. Yeah. I read. Now, honestly, I can tell you the kind of first book I read, the AI, is the Douglas Hofstadter. The book talking about Goff, Asher, and yeah. Honestly, my memory is not as good as I like to have. But there's the book won the Pulitzer Prize 20-some years ago, more than 20 years. Again, his name is Douglas Hofstadter. Douglas Hofstadter. He was super famous in the middle of 80s. Oh, that was almost 40 years ago. Yeah, middle of 80s. I think that has the first influence on me before I found this formula, this codonology. The reason I started writing a lot of books because I want to have a clear mind of what is. At that time point, I still call it direct understanding exchange, the dual learning system. Yeah, this Douglas Hofstadter was interesting guy. His father won Nobel Prize for inventing some kind of a radio detecting devices, or some kind of a, in 1950s, and himself, Douglas Hofstadter, is a PhD graduate from physics, but he suddenly, I think right after his graduation or during graduation, he's kind of he's really into AI thinking, how computer think, so but he has different idea of, I think he belonged to so-called analogy or analog. I think analog analogy, which is small group of AI scholars, which is kind of almost forgotten these days, because this the neural network theory is just so successful and popular and become popular. But anyway, yeah, his book was has quite influence on me 15 years ago. I mentioned him is he's a good friend of Daniel Denn's, and talking about consciousness, right? So
right.
But anyway, so yeah, I read quite a bit, but later on I stopped reading because I don't consider myself as a real pure theorist, philosopher, or I like to have a tool invented. So,
right.
So I really wanted to happen. Computer, thinking computer, reasoning computer. So that's my dream. Yeah.
So I had a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Sure. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
So you're familiar with Elon Musk's Neurolink?
Yeah, I watched that video. Yes, and his presentation. It's impressive. Yes, which is some part I don't fully understand. I think his idea is if you put enough micro probe, right, in there,
right,
and collect all the signals, then you may find a good pattern, which can be useful. So I think it's experimental on this, which I think is good to start. And it's the beauty of this is because the beauty is the engineering beauty, because you can implant the tiny probe without any slight, doesn't look like there are any slight damaging, right?
right.
Which is, it's really good. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wonder if there's any application to codonology, like if you can have an implant in your brain and then you can basically teach the machine.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's so we can treat it like this. So you can collect so-called consciousness. Right?
Right.
So that's kind of a collect of consciousness. Then you analyze what the pattern of waves or signals, pattern of signal means. You can give so-called law or meaning, the reason. So meaning hypothesis. So in LCP, it's hypothesis. LC is the L, right? So say, oh, this is what that means. So you can form a theory, and then you test it, and then so over time you will full theory of if this Neurolink has more data, has more collect enough data to explain those, the phenomena which you want to be explained. Then you will have useful tools. I think eventually you want to kind of mind control in a good sense. Right? Yeah, right. To cure uncurable disease in the past, but will be manageable in future. Yeah, I generally I like Elon Musk dream, and he's not a dreamer. He's really a solid practitioners of dream, which is
okay.
Which is I think his key success is he loved to read and think at very young.
Right.
This is very important. I mean, it's become his habit. I don't think when he can calm down for two minutes, he have a complete thought of like other people. They take like 2 days probably because the habit of thinking, if you form this good habit, he likes to think. He's kind of a loner, right? He likes to think, to study alone in a quiet space. So and making study efficient later on, super efficient. The quick learner, so in a sense. So the reason I mention this is the codonology may, like assistant intelligence, may help so-called not gifted person, so-called ordinary person, right, with the same capability, if equipped with this AI tool, so because they can overcome so-called ordinariness by using the tool. So you can achieve the same on surface. You cannot tell the difference. If you have the tool, another guy is Elon Musk, another guy, a different guy is ordinary people, but equipped with AI. If you do things, do question answer, and you won't tell difference in the speed, in the scope, and in the scale. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah. Right. So that's but in a natural person, you need it's rare, but it does. So that's why genius is rare, because you have to let it naturally happen, which is not often.
Right. Just 2 more questions I have for you.
Sure.
Do you think everything about the human experience can be quantified or known by codonology machines?
You're talking about the sun. The sun can be super huge. I think you're talking about the limit of unlimitedness, right? So this is kind of interesting. So when we say mathematics, I know. So you say, like Wolfram say, I know all the mathematics. So you are talking about very unlimited scope, but turn out in a limited sense, right? So So to answer this question is, I think a human, so regular human can overcome this by buying a time, meaning, so if you give me time, I can answer all the questions you ask.
Right.
Okay. So you see the relativeness of this. So you see, so in real world, most scenario is unlimited. Like in mathematics, irrational number more than rational, which you don't, which is kind of a beyond understanding. It turns out it's true. You know, so between any rational number, there are so many irrational numbers which we don't care. But if you think that way, and in human, you know, in human knowledge, in the world of human knowledge and reasoning, is unlimited or beyond the scope beyond answerable is more than answerable.
Right.
Yeah. But the way human to deal with this is to just give a term. Once you have a term, you kind of solve the issue. So that's why the sum can be, the subsum can be, a few subsum can be summarized with a more generalized subsum. So let's say, again, say you say table, computer, chair. You just say, oh, only three things. That's it. Three things and can cover. So that kind of that's kind of the beauty of kind of commonly recognized beauty. Say any presentation at the end, people do summary, because the summary is give you sense of grabbing the whole things in the limited form. Right. So that's the beauty of reasoning. You know, and other people don't say this, but in codonology, yeah, the summary is important when you finish the complete reasoning in the long line, many lines. You want to give a summary line, which give a good summary line. Not, if not good, then people confuse. So, but what is good line, what is not, which is really no definite answer, but there always answer judged by the audience. So you know, it's a relative term, but the structure is there, meaning you need higher subsum value to cover the lower subsum.
Okay.
In the LCD form, which is very necessary, you know, very necessary. Otherwise, people cannot grab their thought as a whole, so-called totality of thinking. That's important because you don't want to lose track. Maybe you already lose track, but if you do this generalization or summarize, you have a sense of grab the whole understanding, which is important. Yeah, and reflected in this LCP and the codonology, which is subsum on the formula.
Right.
And the T0 means anything by now.
Right.
Okay, you only know clearly by now and before now. And of course by now it's moving, but it's always the most updated always by now. So T always the most updated is T0. Others will be -0, which is past.
Right.
Yeah. So that's, I think I explained pretty much explained the formula of codonology at the end of our conversation.
I have just two more. I have one.
Sure.
So right now, what are some other book recommendations off the top of your head, if you have any for me? And if not, you can email me later. But just for any audience that might watch this later.
Actually, I don't have a good book, but I will. Honestly, I haven't read any. I have a book list, but I just honestly I don't know why I haven't read completely. I started read, but like what that guy's name? Oh, you see my memory. The guy who created the you know, the AI to you can recognize the snow scene, then create the summer scene, the winter scene. I think it's your back generative ingredients. I forgot that guy's name. Iron, A-I-A-N, Iron. Oh, Iron. Iron.
Not sure.
But anyway, so yeah, I don't have the good book.
That's okay.
Honestly, I'm not although I like to. It's kind of my weakness in a sense. That's why I cannot be a professor probably. So I'm kind of more like an inventor type. So I only read enough to get good idea to create things. You know, I don't read like to read tirelessly, which is thinker should be. So although I try to make the codonology is kind of artificially to make a new a thinker which no human thinker can beat. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting way to look at this, but no, that's good. I mean, I actually we can do exchange on what the new books. Actually, I mentioned the Medium, right? The
right,
which is I read which is single articles on most updated progress of artificial intelligence. I read a lot, but to be honest, I never really like. I mean, for a good book, you like to read again, right? Nowadays, people don't do this, which is I'm thinking, in the old days, a good book you read many times. So we can talk about many other things.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So
I just got one last fun question.
Sure. No fun question.
No, I mean fun, like F-U-N.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's just because it doesn't, you'll see what I mean. So what do you think is the meaning of human existence?
Actually, I'm kind of I'm talking about the religion sense, right? And
right.
I won't call myself as an atheist. Although ways, I don't think, if you ask me, I mean, like 10 some years ago, I won't say there is God, but if you ask me now, I will say there is God in the sense of unexplained unexplained higher power of law in the codonology structure, meaning, so yes, in that sense, there is a highest reasoning which I don't understand, but it exists. Okay.
Okay.
In the conceptual world. So in that sense, I think there is a God.
Right. Okay, that's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Stephen, Stephen Hawking. I don't think we think there is a God, but if you ask what's beyond Big Bang, then you have to say there is a God, right?
Right.
So yeah. So I don't think it's conflict between God, believing God, and believing in science. There's no conflict. Yes, no conflict at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree. Well, yeah, that was awesome. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me.
I think we do we have friends share the same passion of like to know, because you see my website, right? I'm dreaming about codonology society. Actually, I can see the current AI society is the future codonology society. So I'm super confident they will become the member. But it's I don't know how soon, but because the first step is we need to have a prototype codon library created and used in the prototype to prove, because the theory, if you show the evidence, people will believe it, and they will start jumping on the wagon of I call it human development wagon. Will be fascinating in many sense. I don't see any bad will happen if we have this fully developed.
Right.
So I'm still kind of optimistic. I'm still optimistic after so many years, 15 years, and yeah. So again, try to find wherever also, when you have your classmates, you have your own circle, right? And you can spread the thought.
Oh yeah, I'll spread the word, definitely.
Yeah. And I think that gradually, it seems time already mature. We may have there is a kind of a meet up, right? So meet up group, we can meet regularly in a sense, just chat, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah. But the goal is we need to have a first prototype created, and then we can think of a commercial feasibility, what kind of form. Then we can form a commercial entity, which is which is it's very for your young folks. To me, it's also a dream come true, but I think it's also shared by your young folks to have this true human-like AI tools to be created,
right?
Which is very I still, although so many years, I still believe it will happen. And I think it's getting more clearer. But it just need to be have a right group and right group of people.
Well, I'll definitely gather some of my friends, but I want you to know, I mentioned this in my email, I'm only a novice or a beginner at Python code, so, and also MATLAB. So what I'm going to do is, I do feel I have that spirit with that I had through the neurosciences and in high school. So what I'm going to do is translate that spirit from neuroscience over to computer science, and hopefully, you know, also speak the word about it, especially if I become a professor, then I can tell my students about it. So, so yeah, that's the main idea.
I don't think it's it's just my feeling. I don't think we need a deep thinker of AI to help us. I don't think to make this prototype happen. We can make it happen with limited capability for the demo. Then they will see, because you know, when people see it, they will think the codonology is not just you know, some kind of a folk theory, right? So I think that's the first step. The first step is really important, to make a simple prototype working, which does not have any precedent in this powerful AI. You know, it's already super powerful, but you can see if you follow the updated progress, there's the complaining, you know, as a Twitter, you know, like Gary, I mean, that's famous, one of famous AI researchers still don't know. Also, I follow, you know, Alex, the Russian young guy, MIT, you know, it's called Friedman.
Alexei Friedman.
Yeah, I follow him pretty close.
So do I.
Yeah, and also another kind of Indian. Actually, that's kind of my first. There's an Indian and African. I think his mother is Indian and father African. His name is Asha. Again, my memory is not so good. He's really good at doing YouTube presenter. He's talking about AI, machine learning. He's really fashionable guy. He's dye his hair in. But I can forward it. I think he's the person probably reachable. Meaning, if we really want to, we can reach those guys. Say, oh, we have this project, and we want to have some input, and you know, we want some so-called expert opinion, you know, to join this our new enterprise, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So we go from small and do the testing. Of course, this is still science in a sense. We want to prove it before it's true. But you know, my feeling is it's true, and I test it in my mind every day. Never disprove it.
Right.
So that's the. But I need to put it on computer to let computer say it's true by showing a first prototype, even it's simple one. Only can do a few small loops, but in a unique sense, and then people realize, oh, this is a new way of doing the AI programming. You know, then so basically, let's kind of do a summary line of this. So So to make it happen, we need to form the library of coda to form the law and concept, the library. Meaning those string of characters is really human readable and can be copy paste and shared by any systems. And so kind of create a Wikipedia of codonology or Wikipedia of reasoning, machine learning, which is shared by artificial intelligence to reach human level reasoning. So that's kind of a summary line of codonology. So hopefully we can prove it.
Right. Okay. So please keep in touch with me through email, and we'll see if we can get into a meetup. What I'm going to do is meet, get some friends who, are interested, and we'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
we can do like at least we can. At least now I can say like in 2 weeks we can have a quick chat, stuff, right? So
right.
I will send the email to you, and then we figure out what kind of a regular schedule we can do, right? Some kind of regularity.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fang.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you for your interest, and thank you for being willing to be a codonologist.
Of course, it's very interesting. I would love to become one.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too.